In this video, we are going to do two things. One, we are going to understand what is this RAG and what are the fundamentals of RAG. And second, we are going to build our RAG application using Langchain in Python. Okay, so let's get started, guys. So guys, we are going to understand what is basically RAG and why it is needed in the world of language models. Okay, then we are going to understand the architecture of RAG and what are the important components to build a RAG based systems. Then we are going to build a RAG in Python using LangChain, as I said, and I'm going to also discuss what will be the next topics after this. Okay, so one thing to start with, the discussion of RAG is incomplete without discussing the shortcomings of a large language model or language models. Okay, so first of all, let's try understanding what are some of the problems with language models. Okay, let me go to the chat GPT prompt and let me ask something which is very relevant. For example, Virat Kohli is not playing the England series due to some personal issues, something. So what I'm asking to chat GPT is Virat Kohli playing next test match? Okay, and see what ChatGPT says. I don't have real-time information about specific sports event beyond my last update in January 2022. Okay, which means that normally your language models, the plain vanilla language models I'm talking about, normally your language models are not up to date. Okay, so first problem, let's note here, language models I'm talking about are normally not up to date. Okay, because Virat Kohli playing or not playing is already in the news, but ChatGPT is not able to tell me that. Okay, now if I go and ask ChatGPT a very generic thing, right? For example, if I say what was TCS revenue, okay, TCS revenue in 2022 2023. Okay, so let's see what ChatGPT says. As of my last update, again it is giving me some January 2022 update, but all of you know that TCS revenue is nothing like a secret thing. It's a public document, right? So TCS is a public listed company. If you just go to Google and search TCS results in 2022-2023, this information is already available. Okay, but it says I don't have access to special financial data for TCS, which is not correct. I mean, this information is already there on the internet, but still it is not able to find me that information. Okay, so what you can say here is very generic. Okay, so one problem is not up to date, other problem is very generic responses. Okay, very generic response. Now try to understand this. If I want to use chat gpt or if I want to use any language model for my own work, right, what is that I would want to do? Just think for a moment, what is that I want to do? I don't want information which is not up to date. This is not useful for me. Okay, and I don't want information which is very generic. This is also not useful for me. What I want to normally do is, or what I would normally want to do is, let's say there is a PDF file. Okay, in this PDF file there is some report. So what I want to do, what I want I should be capable of doing is, I should be uploading this somewhere, and then ChatGPT, I can ask questions to ChatGPT or any language model about this PDF. Okay, imagine there is a CSV data. Okay, in this CSV data there is a sales report of Unfold Data Science. Just an example I'm giving, Unfold Data Science sales report. Okay, this is in CSV file. Okay, what I should be able to do is, I should be able to get the aggregation or group by or these kind of information from the language models by using this CSV file. Okay, or suppose I have a text file here. I have a text file. This text file is, let's say, speech of Sachin Tendulkar retirement day. Okay, so if I want something very specific to know about Sachin Tendulkar's retirement day, that speech, language model should be able to tell me the very specifics of that. Okay, so what I want to say here is, my language model is useful only when it can give me specific information that I need and up to date information that I need. Okay, so these two problems we have to somehow overcome of the language models. Now that is where your RAG comes into picture. So what does RAG stands for? G stands for generation and R and A stands for different things. So let me write here. So it stands for retrieval. Okay, uh, retrieval augmented generation. Okay, generation. So what is the meaning of retrieval augmented generation basically? So generation is something that is normal your language model generation. So I had created a video on what is basically generative AI. So generative AI is basically generating content, right? So generation is what is already there. Okay, but these two things are new. Retrieval augmented generation. So what is the meaning of retrieval augmented generation? Let's try to understand how RAG architecture is different from normal language models. So user will come. Okay, this is the normal language models. User will come, user will put the query. Okay, this is your LLM. Okay, this is your LLM, and LLM will give you the response. Okay, this is very simple, just like I was talking to ChatGPT now. User, query, response. This is your normal. Okay, language models. Normal language, I'll say lang models. Okay, but if I make here a diagram of RAG based systems, okay, RAG based systems. So how it will happen is, just try to understand this basic difference, guys. User will come, user will put a query. Okay, this query does not go to the language model first, it goes to something known as retriever. Okay, so I'm writing here retriever. Okay, retriever. What the job of retriever is, it will go and find the relevant information in a database. So in a database means, let's say there is a database which is manually uploaded by the user. So what I'm wanting to do is, I'm wanting to get specific information. I want my language model to be capable of giving me the specific information, up to date information. So obviously I need to train my model, or I need to augment my model with that information, right? So that information I am storing in this database, for example. Okay, so what the job of retriever is, it will take my query, it will hit this database, and it will get some response. Okay, it will get some response. Once this happens, right, then what this retriever will do is, it will take your query, that is original query. Okay, original query plus the response it gets from the database, you can say data source, you can say. So let me write here data source. Okay, query plus text. To keep it simple, I will say text that it gets from the data source. Now these two things, right, these two things together will go to your LLM. Okay, and then you get your response. Okay, so from here you will generate, your LLM will generate your response. This what I'm drawing now is the response basically. So how RAG systems are different from normal language models? Basically this retriever and data source concept. To keep it very simple, when I asked the chat GPT here, uh, is Virat Kohli playing in the next test match? Imagine if I take a PDF file which has the latest news about the Virat Kohli, and if I give that PDF file to this model, right, then this model will never say I don't have up to date information. This model will simply say that I have a latest information, Virat Kohli is not playing this match. Okay, now this is exactly what is the meaning of retriever and augmentation. Now there are various parts of this, guys. If you remember, I created two different videos on vector databases. Okay, and there is a reason for why I created this. You see this data source here, right? Now this data source we are talking about keeping text. All this is language, right? So you can think of keeping text here. Okay, now if you keep a text here, right, then it has to be kept in a vectorized format, and it will be mostly a vector based database. Okay, so what will be the different components of a RAG based system? Let's try to understand. Okay, so you will need a retriever. Okay, basically user and query already you have. You will need a retriever. Okay, you will need a retriever, and you will need a database. You will need a database where you will store your additional information. So I'm talking about giving a PDF file about Virat Kohli, right? That you will store here in this database. Okay, and what else? You will need embedding. Why you will need embedding? Because you will store that embedded vectors in this database, right? So you will need embedding. Obviously you will need access to a language models. Let's I mean simply let me say API key for your language models, because you want to do that. And then you want to bind all these things together, right? So for that you will need a framework such as Langchain. So let's say chaining. I'm saying chaining. Okay, chaining. Okay, so important thing that we will need is retriever, we will need a database, we will need embedding methodology, we will need access to a model, that is API key, and we will need a chaining. Okay, so let's go ahead in Python and see how to implement a simple RAG based model using LangChain. Apologies for the interruption, guys, but I want to draw your attention towards the need of one of the Unfold Data Science family members. So she is Nandini, and she messaged me in LinkedIn that she needs some financial support for her father's condition. So please go ahead and see, the link is there in the description. See whatever you can do, that will be really helpful for Nandini. I have done my bit. Please try to do whatever you can. Okay, it will help Nandini and her family. Let's get back to the video. So let me go to ChatGPT again and ask a question about one of the very famous book. So this Atomic Habits by James Clear is a very famous book. Let me go to ChatGPT and ask what are the chapters in the book Atomic Habits. Okay, so let me go here and ask what are the chapters in the book. Okay, Atomic Habits by James Clear. Okay, so let me see. Atomic Habits by James Clear, chapter 1, chapter 2, part 3, part 4, part 5. Okay, like this it is giving me up to, if you note here, it is telling me chapter 16. Okay, what I'm going to do as part of my RAG is I'm going to augment my basic LLM model with Atomic Habits complete book. Okay, this complete book I'm going to put it in a database, and I'm going to connect it with my normal augment my language model with this book, and let's see if this normal response changes. Okay, so let's come here, guys. So you will need some packages, as I told you, LangChain, right? Now if you want me to create a dedicated video on LangChain, I can do that, but LangChain is basically a framework that makes your life easy if you want to make applications of language models. So it gives you various things through which you can combine various functionalities of language models, I mean various components of language models. So what we are going to do is we are going to, first of all, from LangChain you will need some packages. Okay, I'll explain you whatever is important here. Okay, so LangChain, I'm importing something known as PyPDF loader. Why? Because I want to load this PDF. Atomic Habits book is in PDF format. Okay, this book is in PDF format on my desktop, on my download. So I will take this, and what I'm going to do is I will use this as the augmentation part for my model. Okay, so I'm keeping this in PDF pages. Okay, then from LangChain text splitter I'm using character text splitter, which is simply a way of giving you tokens. Okay, if you remember, I told you we will need a vector database also. So LangChain community gives you a vector stored called as FAISS. So see here, I have opened the documentation. Facebook AI similarity search is a library for efficient similarity search and clustering of dense vectors. Okay, so it says this notebook shows how to use functionality related to FAIS vector database. So what, to keep it very simple, we are using a database in the form of FAISS, where I will go and store my embedded vectors. Okay, so I'm importing this, Then I'm importing OpenAI normal embedding. You will obviously need your API key, as I told you, OpenAI API key. So if you see here, I'm just loading PDF loader that this is my PDF book basically. I'm putting in my document and I'm creating characters and then I'm putting in text and I'm creating some embeddings from OpenAI embedding. Okay. And here I'm saying using Langchain API function to interact with FAISS. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to just create the embedding and put it in this database. So just pay attention here, guys. What I'm trying to do in this line, I'm using OpenAI's embedding. I'm using the text, which is nothing but my PDF book, and I'm storing that in the form of vector in DB. Okay, DB is my database. So if I see what is there in DB, right? You can see Langchain community vector store. Okay, so that is my vector database. Now what I'm going to do here, I'm going to define a retriever. If you remember, I told we will need a retriever. What is the job of retriever? Retriever will simply tell that, okay, so when I receive a query, then I have to go and hit that DB and find the relevant information. So I'm defining a retriever here, and LangChain makes your life easy if you want to club all these things together. So simply I'm saying from LangChain toolkits, import conversational retrieval agent. Now, once this is done, we will simply get an API here, and through that API, we can interact. So if you see, I'm giving here LLM is nothing but chatbot API. Tools is nothing but this, a simple tool that we created from here, retriever tool. Okay. And then from here, we can interact with the model. So this looks pretty simple here because LangChain makes your life easy when you want to work with a language model. So basically, I told you here, right, in the theory, we are defining a retriever. We are defining a retriever. Okay, we are creating embeddings, and this embedding we are putting in this database. Okay, we already have a API key. In the last step, we are chaining all these things together using LangChain so that we can call or we can make the requests. Okay, so now I'm going to ask some question. Okay, so I'm asking the first question here: what are the surprising power of atomic habits? If I ask this same question to ChatGPT here, let me ask here. This book is a very, very famous book. So I expect something ChatGPT should give me. So let's see what response I get. And you will see that response is very different from what I'm getting from the my model, because my model is augmented with complete PDF. Okay, so it is giving me some high level 4 points compound effect, play two of this and 3 layers of behavioral change, etc., which is not wrong. But here it gives me a more detailed description of based on the books, habits are the compound interest, getting 1% better, etc., whatever it is. Okay, now if you remember, the first question I asked here is I gave the author name and I gave the book name. What are the chapters in the book Atomic Habits by James Clear, right? So it tells me part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, part 5. So it goes till chapter 16. But if you see in my model, right, in my model it goes till chapter 26. Okay, chapter 26. The reason being, this model is augmented with the PDF, actual book. Hence, it has more information. Now, if I go to this book, right, if you see chapter wise, you will see only 16 chapters, but there are things which are after 16th chapter as well. Okay, since I'm having more information through augmentation, I'm able to classify that as 26 chapters. Okay, so see 19 number is here. Okay, the Goldiak rule, how to stay motivated in life and work. So this should match number 19 in my, see the Goldiak rule, how to stay motivated in life and work, right? But here in chat GPT, you will see that 19 number is not there. Okay. So what is happening is when you are augmenting it, it is giving you more detailed information and more relevant information. Whereas the plain vanilla model does not give you more relevant and more detailed information. Okay. So to summarize, when you augment your model with some extra information, you get up-to-date information, you get more relevant information, you get your own chatbot. Okay, so just to summarize what all we discussed, guys, we saw what are the common problems with large language normally language models. Okay, then how RAG can solve those problems, and how RAG is used with a retriever, with a data source, with query and text it sends to LLM and generates the simple architecture, the important components, and using Langchain, how can we make it simply in the Python? Okay, please press the like button, guys, if you like this video. And if you want me to create a Langchain separate video, I can do that. Just drop a comment on that. See you all in the next video, guys. Wherever you are, stay safe and take care.